So, moral education in schools, bridging the gap in a diverse society. This is what my journal article is about. So, our main theory that we're using is social theory. That said, given that educational theory appears to be widely regarded in the contemporary academy as a branch of empirical science, it may seem less surprising that much, if not most, later-day theorizing about moral education has been driven by a social theoretical perspective. Now, in this, moral behavior is based on what is socially acceptable, and the mixing of cultures has altered our perspective of social conduct. So what this is saying is that um, when we look at our society and look at what is acceptable either by law or by cultural beliefs, those have been changing because of the changes in our demographics. And um, while our expectations are the same for moral conduct, the actual moral conduct has been changing because of those differences. So, moral development. The increase in social ills such as violence, crime, and terrorism in the United States have prompted public outcry for schools to pay greater attention to students' moral development. Students need to be taught how to have socially acceptable behavior, and parents can also be educated about socially acceptable behavior to help their children learn. So this is going off the assumption that parents do not already teach their children socially acceptable behaviors, and that sometimes the parents may need to also be educated, but definitely in the schools, teachers have the ability to teach socially appropriate behaviors, and they can even do it in a way that's fun and, with videos or talking about scenarios, having students or other teachers act out a scene like a play. It's always fun for students to be able to see that kind of stuff. So, moral education in China. Moral belief is supported by emotion, and only people with deep moral emotion have firm moral belief and will spontaneously perform their moral belief and standard. In China, research has found that people have a deep emotional reaction in moral situations. Only people that have this emotional connection will act morally on a regular basis. This I could see as very true. This article that I found was very interesting, and I really like that they they see this as uh, a reason for the moral behavior, is this moral belief and emotional reaction. Um, it's very intriguing about what course of action they took with their research, and that they were able to see this. And so this is actually what they teach in China, is having a strong moral belief that will help to develop those moral emotions. So, creating a moral learning environment. Creating a moral learning environment where the students feel respect for their classmates, different ideas, and enhancing students' moral development requires teaching theoretical information and practice, indicating that effective teachers are not only qualified in their teaching fields but also in personal development and education. Teachers should have a moral character themselves in order to teach students about how to have moral behavior. It's much easier for us to teach something that we actually practice than something that we just know about and don't actually follow through with. I think that's the case with almost anything. If you actually do it, then you have much more of a likelihood to be able to teach it in a more effective way. So this is just showing us that teachers will have a better chance of affecting students' reactions to these teachings if they are actually living this moral life that they are teaching. So, Turkish moral education. When literature on moral education is examined, there is evidence that one cannot separate an individual's cognitive development from one's moral development, and the environment one lives in, While some researchers underline moral education from an inner understanding, others underline the importance of common social values, and others state that morality may vary dependent on circumstances and combine one's moral understanding to inner and outer impulses. Moral development and cognitive development are connected. This is very interesting. It shows us that as children grow and their cognitive development is occurring, that is the most important time to be teaching these moral lessons and to develop their morality while they're learning. So when they're not necessarily saying that when they're adults, they will be able to just all of a sudden have a moral attitude and be respectful and everything. It's something that's taught at a young age. And I think that's something that we need to look at more in-depthly and understand exactly when this education needs to start and when it's too late to start that education. So the biblical connection: owe no one anything except to love each other, for the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. For the commandments: you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and any other commandment are summed up in this word: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no wrong to a neighbor, therefore love is the fulfilling of the law. The Bible is one of the most well-known places to go to for advice about moral conduct. And the verse is Romans 13, 8 through 10. I felt that this verse fit in with this information very well because it shows us how to have moral conduct, not committing adultery, not murdering, not stealing, not coveting. It's very straightforward, and the key idea here is love. We're meant to love those around us, and with having a moral background, that's definitely what morality seems to be tied into, is love. Peace, kindness, love, just being kind to one another is the most important part of morality. And the references. Thanks for listening.